Thanks for tuning in to the next video, guys. We're hopefully going to get the Corolla started. I've had some ignition issues when I first tried to start it, so I've got a new coil here to give it a go. So let's get started and see if we can get this thing going. Definitely have power on the coil and ignition. So if I split the points, we should have power at distributor. Yep, we definitely have power at distributor. So I've got power from the coil, power at distributor. Don't know what else could be. Keep at it. Alright, I got myself a electronic distributor. I'm not too sure how to wire this up, but I'm going to give it a go. I think you just need to take off the ballast off the coil and wire positive to positive and negative negative on the coil. So I'm going to give this a go and see if it gets any light. Alright, that was a nice little first start. I just threw a bit of petrol down the carb with a bit of start you bastard, and she fired up. I had to change the distributor. I put an electronic distributor on, and that seemed to give me spark, and yeah, away we went. The issue I'm having now is that my oil pressure gauge, well, it seemed to come up before, but when I went to crank over again, it's just stopped working completely. And before it was actually moving up, but now the gauge is not doing anything. So I'll either bugger up the gauge or I'm losing oil pressure. So yeah, but I'm gonna start it up and just give it a start with some fuel now. I'll check some fuel pressure and let's give it a proper first start. Just blocked off the fuel line so it returns. Hopefully there's some pressure there. She's run, very exciting, but I have a very big oil leak. Alright, we'll do another start and see if we can see where the oil leaks come from. Alright, that start went well. I did get oil pressure. Whew. Heart was jumping over that, so that's good. Got up to about 60-80 pounds of oil pressure. There is an oil leak somewhere, so I'm going to replay back that video and see if I can find out where that oil leak's coming from. Oil pressure. Good. Even got a bit of temp. Alright, once I can work out where that oil leak's coming from, we're ready to continue. Alright, I started filling up the radiator with some water. but unfortunately I had a water leak. The water line, one of the water lines on the turbo was leaking, so I've tightened that up. Then I've gone to start up again and the thing won't start. So I've just pulled the plugs to see if it was running maybe a little rich, getting too much fuel, and the plugs were pretty fouled up. So I've given them a bit of a clean. I've installed the wideband again, so we'll get that set up and give it a go for another start. The car is running super rich, so we are going to start changing jets on this thing. We'll start with the idle jets and the main jets, bring everything down and try and lean this thing out as much as we can to make it run good, then we can adjust from there. Alright, I've got the jets changed. Let's start it up. I'll try and run at the temperature. Oh, it's good. Still looking pretty rich, but could be because there's just a ton of fuel in the cylinders from all the starting before. See if we can get the thing up to temperature and get the thing idling. Perfect. Try and get that idle down, I'll check timing. Sort of ran up to temperature pretty close. It's got to about 80. The radiator started pissing out steam, so I'm running out of water, or I'm not too sure. The downside is the oil pressure was dropping, so that's a bit of a concern. It started off at 60 to 80, then slowly worked its way down. As you rev it, the oil pressure will come back up, and then it went down all the way down about 25 psi. So got to work out what's happening there. I know I've got a small oil leak, but it's pretty tiny down near the sump. I'm not too sure where else it's leaking from. We're gonna have a good look, but at least we ran up to temperature. It sounds pretty cool, and yeah, just work out these problems and hopefully we can get this thing running for a longer time. All right, I've got an oil leak over here on the block off plate. I've got an oil leak from this fitting from the turbo, probably a little oil leak from that fitting over there as well. Not really run the right hose, not clamped. See how much shit's collected in here. Oh, there's heaps of crap came out of the engine. So might disconnect the water, let out all the crap that's in the engine. Maybe some came from the heater coil. The radiator was definitely overheating, maybe because I've not run the thermo fan. So I'll fix these oil leaks, flush everything out, and and then give it another first start and tidy up a few bits of cable. And I've also got to connect up the alternator wiring, so that's working correctly, so I'll figure that out, and then give it another start there. What I've done is I've rerouted some water lines. I've changed the turbo water line inlet to this little pipe coming off this housing, and I've changed the original place where I had the turbo water going in here for a switch for my thermo fan. So that will trigger the thermo fans, which, as we've seen in the last video for the start, we really need to get this thing cooled. So, and I gave the radiator a flush to get all the crap out of there which is built in there after that first start. So yeah, we'll wire up the thermo fans next, the alternator, and I'm just waiting for an oil line below a fitting for the sump, which is leaking, and once that's all done, we can give it a proper first start, hopefully run up to heat, thermos will come on, and I'll be much more confident that it runs sweet. Alright, we've mounted the relays for the starter and the thermo fan. We'll just dummy that up until I get some nicer plugs, and I think we're ready to put some water in and give another start. I've been charging the battery, I've wired up the alternator, fingers crossed I've done it the right way, and maybe it might even charge, so fingers crossed. So I think it's time to fill it up, give another start. Let her warm up, see if she idles. I think those idle jets are a little small, gotta change them. Up, oil pressure slowly going down on idle. Pretty good, air fuels. Alright, now I'm going to disconnect the Sigma and see if the alternator is charging. Fingers crossed. Come on baby, charge for me. No, it's not charging. She's gonna die. Sounds wicked. Keeps fouling plugs. Not sure why. Maybe fuel regs, pushing too much fuel in. Might have to lower the main jets. Keep messing around. Pretty good there. Keep it idling, get this thing warm. Clean the plugs. It's idling a little high, but we'll work that out. Car's been running for like 15 minutes. Sounds pretty lumpy. I don't know if it's something to do with a leak or it's a cam, but it sounds awesome. I like the sound of it. But yeah, alternator's got to be fixed next, but at least the engine is running and running for a while, so time to get some boost into this thing. Alright, before we get the roller back on the road, it's going to need some new wheels. So I've got some MA61 wheels. which were in okay condition. I was going to polish them, but I did one wheel, was a bloody lot of work, so do something a little bit different in these wheels. I'm going to put a bit of colour on them, see how they turn out. So let's get paint. Alright, trying to sort out this charging issue. So pulled out the old alternator. I've got an EUA one, slightly bigger, which might be a bit of a problem because there's a really tight fit in there, especially where I've cut my head hose, but we'll see if this fits in, and hopefully we have charge. Fits in bloody tight, but yeah, it fits just. And I also changed this fitting, which I believe was one of the oil leaks coming out of the fitting, so hopefully that fixes that. Right, there's my old intercooler. It's off XR6 FPV. Gonna give it a slap of paint, made a bracket to hold one side of it. There's all my shonky intercooler piping on, and the cooler all mounted up. Just got to make a new cool pipe from here to here. Alright, I'm going to put some brake fluid in, and because this thing's sitting on jack stands for 3 years, I'm going to flush out the brake lines, see how much water comes out. It'd be good to get this thing on the floor after 3 years, so it's exciting times. Starting to come out of the green. Alright, I seem to keep blowing distributors. I think I'm frying the igniter inside the distributor. Don't know if this is not compatible. Doing my head in, trying to go through. I've got a new Bosch coil, new distributor. Gonna try this and see if I cook it or not. I'll do some measurements and yeah, see if I can make this thing work. Alright, new Bosch coil on, new dizzy, see if we get spark. Perfect. All Alright guys, that's the update. I've been busy practicing my aluminium welding, making a catch can and some washer bottles and working out how to do all that stuff. I've got to clean the car, align the wheels, basically get Rego on it, and she's back on the road. So exciting times. We'll be back next video to finish off things like this and hopefully have it driving on the road.